Does time really exist? Buddhism's view on time. Why the present is the only reality. The mystery of time, where science meets Buddha's wisdom. Time is an illusion, Einstein famously declared. This counterintuitive notion resonates with the Buddha's ancient wisdom, expressed succinctly in the Diamond Sutra. The past is a dream, the future is unreal, and the present is like a dewdrop, fleeting and impermanent. These perspectives, originating from seemingly disparate worlds, theoretical physics and contemplative practice, converge on a profound question. Is our experience of time a fundamental aspect of the universe or a construct of our own minds? Modern physics, particularly in the realm of quantum mechanics, offers intriguing parallels to Buddhist philosophy. Consider the perplexing phenomenon of quantum entanglement. Two particles, initially interacting and thus sharing a correlated state, can become linked in a way that defies classical physics. Even when separated by vast distances, a measurement performed on one particle instantaneously influences the state of the other. This interconnectedness transcends our conventional notions of space and time, where information is limited by the speed of light. Entanglement suggests a deeper, non-local reality operating beyond the constraints of our linear perception of time. The double-slit experiment adds another layer to this mystery. It demonstrates that subatomic particles, like electrons or photons, exhibit both wave-like and particle-like properties. Furthermore, the act of observing or measuring these particles, introducing a detector into the experiment, influences their behavior, causing them to manifest as particles rather than waves. While the interpretation of this observer effect is still debated within the scientific community, it points to the complex interplay between the observer and the observed, questioning the classical notion of an objective reality existing independently of measurement. Recent neuroscientific research, conducted at MIT and other institutions, explores the biological basis of time perception within the human brain. By identifying specific brain regions involved in processing temporal information, these studies reveal that our experience of time is not a direct reflection of an external reality, but a construct generated by intricate neural networks. Similar to how a clock's internal mechanisms track the passage of time, our brains construct our subjective experience of time through the complex interplay of neuronal activity. The Buddha, centuries ago, embarked on a similar exploration of the nature of perception and reality. In the Diamond Sutra, he highlighted the subjective nature of experience. He explained how our senses, conditioned by past experiences and mental formations, sankharas, filter and interpret the incoming stream of sensory data, creating our unique perception of the world. As the Buddha stated, we are what we think. All that we are arises with our thoughts. With our thoughts, we make the world. He emphasized that clinging to these perceptions as absolute truths is the source of suffering, as reality is inherently impermanent and interconnected, constantly changing like the flow of a river. Experiencing a delayed train can feel like an eternity, while a joyful moment with loved ones seems to vanish in an instant. This illustrates how our emotional state can dramatically distort our perception of time. Both quantum physics and Buddhism, through different methodologies, challenge our common-sense view of a fixed, objective reality existing independently of the observer. They urge us to question the assumed solidity of our perceived world, including our experience of time as a linear progression from past to future. From these converging perspectives, a new understanding of time begins to emerge. These converging insights from science and Buddhism set the stage for a deeper exploration of the Buddha's teachings on the illusion of time. The Grand Illusion. The Buddha's enlightenment under the Bodhi tree was not merely a spiritual awakening, but a profound realization of the nature of reality, including the illusory nature of time. His insights pierced through the conventional understanding of time as a linear, objective flow, revealing it instead as a mental construct interwoven with our perceptions, attachments, and ultimately, our suffering. This was a direct insight into time's true nature, revealing its dependence on causes and conditions. He realized that time, as we perceive it, arises due to the workings of the 12 links of dependent origination, a chain of causation, beginning with ignorance and culminating in aging and death. By understanding this process, the Buddha saw a path to liberation from the suffering inherent in our conventional experience of time. Central to the Buddha's teaching is the distinction between reality and perception. This is beautifully illustrated in his discourse with the Kalamas, where he advises them, "Do not go by reports, by legends, by traditions, by scripture, by logical conjecture, by inference, by analogical reasoning, by agreement through pondering views, by probability, or by the thought, 'This contemplative is our teacher.'" Instead, he encourages them to test the truth through their own direct experience. This skeptical yet open-minded approach is crucial for understanding the nature of time. We are often trapped by our habitual ways of perceiving time as a relentless march forward, dividing our lives into past, present, and future. The Buddha's teachings encourage us to question this deeply ingrained perception, to examine whether our experience of time truly reflects reality or is a product of our own mental conditioning. By clinging to fixed notions of time, we create a separation between ourselves and the ever-present flow of experience, a separation that is the source of much of our suffering. Modern neuroscience provides further support for the malleability of our memories and perceptions. Research on neuroplasticity demonstrates that memories are not static recordings of the past, but are actively reconstructed each time we recall them. This process is subject to distortions and influences based on our current emotional state, beliefs, and even subsequent experiences. This impermanence of memory underscores the subjective and fluid nature of our perceived past, challenging the notion of a fixed and objective history. The Dhammapada elaborates on how our experience of time is shaped by mental formations, sankharas. These mental formations, rooted in craving and attachment, generate the illusion of a solid self moving through time. This creates a sense of separation and fuels the cycle of craving and aversion. Clinging to pleasant experiences from the past gives rise to nostalgia or longing, while anticipating potential future suffering breeds anxiety and fear. These mental processes bind us to the illusion of time, distracting us from the present moment, the only point of true contact with reality. This habitual distraction from the present often dissipates during deep meditative states. Studies on experienced meditators have shown a phenomenon known as time dilation, where the subjective experience of time slows down or even seems to cease. This corresponds with a shift in brainwave activity, indicating a state of deep absorption and present moment awareness. Interestingly, similar time distortions are reported during life-threatening situations. The science behind this suggests that during such intense experiences, the brain processes information at an accelerated rate, creating a subjective feeling of slowed down time. This heightened awareness, similar to the focused attention cultivated in meditation, enhances our ability to respond skillfully and effectively. Buddhist practices offer a systematic path to dismantling the illusion of time. Mindfulness meditation, for instance, trains us to anchor our attention to the present moment, observing the arising and passing of thoughts, sensations, and emotions without judgment. By cultivating a non-reactive awareness of our inner experience, we begin to recognize the impermanent and insubstantial nature of these phenomena. This insight gradually weakens the grip of past regrets and future anxieties, allowing for a more direct and immediate experience of the present. Through consistent practice, mindfulness weakens the habitual tendency to get lost in thoughts of the past or future, cultivating a deeper appreciation for the richness and fullness of the present moment. By understanding the mechanisms by which our minds construct the experience of time, we can begin to free ourselves from its constraints. This liberation is not about escaping time, but about relating to it in a fundamentally different way. Time is mind-made. The Lankavatara Sutra, a Mahayana Buddhist text, delves deep into the relationship between mind and time, asserting that time is not an external reality, but a creation of the mind. This sutra emphasizes the primacy of consciousness, a concept crucial to understanding this perspective. The Lankavatara Sutra posits that the fundamental ground of all experience is consciousness, often referred to as the Tathagatagarbha, or Buddha nature. While the external world appears to exist independently, the Lankavatara Sutra emphasizes that our experience of it is entirely mediated by consciousness. This Tathagatagarbha, often likened to a clear mirror reflecting all phenomena, is beyond time and space, yet gives rise to all phenomena, including our experience of time. This perspective radically challenges the conventional view of time as an independent, objective entity flowing from past to future. Research on time perception across different states of consciousness supports this view. Studies have shown that our experience of time can vary significantly depending on factors such as our emotional state, level of attention, and even the type of activity we are engaged in. For instance, time seems to fly by when we are engrossed in an enjoyable activity, while periods of boredom or anxiety can stretch on interminably. These subjective variations in time perception highlight the role of our mental state in shaping our temporal experience. Furthermore, studies exploring altered states of consciousness, such as those induced by meditation or psychedelics, reveal even more dramatic distortions of time perception, further reinforcing the idea that time is not a fixed, external reality, but rather a function of consciousness. Modern psychology has explored the concept of flow states, characterized by complete absorption in an activity, a loss of self-consciousness, and a distorted sense of time. Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, a pioneer in flow research, describes these states as being characterized by intense focus, a merging of action and awareness, a loss of self-reflective thought, and a sense of control. These flow states bear a striking resemblance to the jhana states described in Buddhist texts, which are progressively deeper states of meditative absorption. Both flow states and jhanas involve a narrowing of attention to a single point of focus, leading to a diminished awareness of the passage of time and a sense of effortless action. In jhana, this focused attention, often on the breath or a meditative object, leads to a quieting of the mental chatter and a profound sense of stillness and peace. This quieting of the internal dialogue, which is often preoccupied with past and future concerns, allows for a deeper experience of the present moment, untainted by the usual anxieties and distractions. EEG studies of experienced meditators in jhana show distinct changes in brainwave patterns, including increased theta and alpha activity, suggesting a profound shift in the way the brain processes information, including temporal information. These findings offer a compelling neurological basis for the subjective experience of timelessness reported by meditators in deep states of concentration. The reduction in mental activity associated with jhana lessens the creation of the mental constructs that typically give rise to our sense of time. Einstein's theory of relativity, while not directly addressing the subjective experience of time, provides further evidence for the malleability of time. The theory demonstrates that time is not absolute, but relative to the observer's frame of reference, particularly their velocity and proximity to gravitational fields. Time dilation, a consequence of the theory, predicts that time passes slower for a moving clock relative to a stationary one, an effect that becomes more pronounced as the speed approaches the speed of light. This, along with the effects of gravity on time, demonstrates that time is not the fixed and immutable entity we commonly perceive it to be. This resonates with the Buddhist understanding of time as a dependent and conditioned phenomenon. The Lankavatara Sutra reveals that consciousness is primary, with time being a construct arising within it. By understanding this, we can cultivate, through practices like mindfulness, a timeless awareness. This involves anchoring our attention to the present, observing the flow of experience without judgment. This disentangles us from the illusion of linear time and opens us to the richness of the present moment, setting the stage for an exploration of quantum Buddhism. Quantum Buddhism. Quantum Buddhism isn't a formal sect or school, but rather a dynamic and evolving field of inquiry exploring the intersection of Buddhist philosophy and quantum physics. It's a conversation between ancient contemplative wisdom and cutting-edge scientific discovery, seeking to find common ground and challenge our conventional understanding of reality. Thinkers like physicist Fritjof Capra, in his book The Tao of Physics, and Buddhist scholar B. Alan Wallace, have been instrumental in bridging these two worlds, exploring the parallels between emptiness, interdependence, and the nature of consciousness. At the heart of this exploration lies the double-slit experiment, a cornerstone of quantum mechanics. As discussed earlier, this experiment demonstrates the wave-particle duality of subatomic particles and the intriguing role of observation. A particle, like a photon or electron, fired at a barrier with two slits, will pass through both slits simultaneously as a wave, creating an interference pattern on a screen behind the barrier. However, when a detector is used to determine which slit the particle passes through, the wave function collapses, and the particle behaves as if it went through only one slit. This shift, simply by introducing observation, raises profound questions about the nature of reality and the role of consciousness in shaping it. The Wheeler delayed choice experiment takes this a step further, exploring the concept of retrocausality. In this thought experiment, later realized in the laboratory, the decision of whether or not to observe which slit the particle passes through is made after the particle has already passed through the slits. To visualize this, imagine the particle already traveling towards the screen, and only then do we decide to activate or deactivate the detectors at the slits. Astonishingly, the results show that this delayed choice seems to influence the particle's behavior in the past, as if the particle knew in advance whether or not it would be observed. While interpretations of this experiment vary, and the idea of backward causation remains controversial, it undeniably highlights the interconnected and non-local nature of reality revealed by quantum mechanics, suggesting that our classical notions of cause and effect may not fully capture the subtleties of the quantum realm. These findings resonate deeply with core Buddhist teachings, particularly the concept of emptiness, sunyata, as articulated in the Heart Sutra. Emptiness doesn't signify nothingness, but rather the lack of inherent, independent existence in all phenomena. The Heart Sutra states, "Form is emptiness, emptiness is form." This points to the interconnected and interdependent nature of reality, where everything arises due to a web of causes and conditions. Nothing exists in isolation, and everything is in a constant state of flux and transformation. This resonates with the quantum view of reality, where particles are not seen as solid, independent entities, but rather as interconnected energy patterns within a vast quantum field, like ripples on the surface of a vast, interconnected ocean of energy. The principle of quantum superposition, where a particle can exist in multiple states simultaneously until measured, also finds parallels in Buddhist thought. Buddhism speaks of the multiplicity of possibilities inherent in each moment, shaped by the choices we make and the actions we take. This concept of multiple potentialities aligns with the quantum notion of superposition, where a particle's state is indeterminate until the act of measurement forces it into a single, defined state. Just as a quantum particle exists in a superposition of states, our future exists as a field of possibilities, and our choices and actions determine which possibility manifests. Recent quantum experiments, exploring the behavior of particles at increasingly complex levels, offer compelling support for this Buddhist view of reality as a dynamic, interconnected, and ultimately impermanent process. The Diamond Sutra reinforces this idea, stating, "Thus shall you think of all this fleeting world, a star at dawn, a bubble in a stream, a flash of lightning in a summer cloud, a flickering lamp, a phantom, and a dream." The Copenhagen interpretation, like the Buddhist middle way, emphasizes the observer's role in defining reality. This convergence between quantum physics and Buddhist thought offers a balanced perspective, acknowledging both the everyday world and the ultimate reality of emptiness. This understanding has profound practical implications. By recognizing our active participation in shaping reality, we can cultivate positive mindsets and live more meaningfully. This empowers us to move beyond a sense of helplessness, embracing responsibility for our lives and the world. Your mind, time's creator. The story of Mahakasyapa's sudden awakening offers a profound illustration of how the mind constructs our experience of time. During a sermon, the Buddha silently held up a flower. While the other disciples remained puzzled, Mahakasyapa smiled. The Buddha then proclaimed, "I have the true Dharma I, the marvelous mind of nirvana, the true form of the formless, the subtle Dharma gate, independent of words and transmitted outside scriptures." Essentially, the essence of enlightenment, a truth beyond conceptual understanding. He continued, "This I entrust to Mahakasyapa." This wordless transmission, a direct recognition of truth beyond the confines of language and conceptual thought, highlights the immediacy of experience unmediated by the constructs of time. Mahakasyapa's awakening wasn't a process unfolding over time, but a sudden shift in perspective, a direct apprehension of reality beyond the linear flow of past, present, and future. It was a glimpse into the timeless nature of reality, a realm beyond the limitations of the conceptual mind. Cognitive science research sheds light on how the mind constructs our experience of time. For example, studies by neuroscientist David Eagleman have explored how our perception of time is influenced by the amount of information our brains process. These studies have shown that our perception of time is not a passive reception of an external reality, but an active construction based on the processing of sensory information, memories, and expectations. Our brains create a sense of temporal order by associating events with each other, forming a narrative of our lives. This narrative, however, is subject to biases and distortions based on our individual experiences and emotional states, highlighting the subjective nature of time perception. The very act of remembering itself, as we've seen, is a reconstructive process, not a retrieval of fixed data points. Each time we recall a memory, we are essentially recreating it, weaving it into the tapestry of our ongoing narrative. Memory and anticipation are two key mental functions that play a crucial role in shaping our experience of time. Memory allows us to connect the present moment with past experiences, creating a sense of continuity and personal identity. Anticipation, on the other hand, projects our awareness into the future, generating expectations, hopes, and fears. These two mental processes, while essential for navigating the world, can also trap us in the illusion of time. Excessive dwelling on the past can lead to regret and rumination, while excessive focus on the future can fuel anxiety and apprehension, both pulling us away from the present moment. This constant oscillation between past and future creates a sense of temporal fragmentation, obscuring the immediacy and fullness of the present. Studies on time perception across different age groups reveal fascinating variations in how we experience time. Children, with their limited past experiences and still developing brains, often perceive time as moving much slower than adults. As we age, the perceived speed of time seems to accelerate, possibly due to the increasing proportion of past experiences relative to future possibilities, or potentially due to changes in brain chemistry and metabolism. This subjective experience of time highlights its dependence on our individual life history and our psychological relationship with past, present, and future. Buddhist psychology offers a detailed analysis of how mental formations, sankharas, influence our experience of time. Sankharas are volitional formations, the mental impulses, habits, and tendencies that shape our thoughts, emotions, and actions. These sankharas are conditioned by past experiences and, in turn, condition our future experiences, creating a continuous cycle of becoming, often referred to as samsara. This cycle is driven by craving and aversion, the tendency to cling to pleasant experiences and resist unpleasant ones. By clinging to these sankharas, we reinforce the illusion of a separate self moving through time, leading to suffering, dukkha. Buddhist teachings highlight the crucial link between attention and time perception. Scattered attention makes time seem to slip away, while focused attention, cultivated through mindfulness, expands our experience of the present. This heightened awareness allows us to appreciate each moment fully, free from the grip of past and future. Understanding how our minds create time empowers us to cultivate a more direct experience of reality. Through mindfulness and other contemplative practices, we can transform our relationship with time, finding peace and liberation in the present moment. Breaking free from time's prison. The Anapanasati Sutta, a discourse on mindfulness of breathing, offers detailed instructions for transcending the limitations of time-bound consciousness. This sutta, a core teaching in the Buddhist tradition, outlines a systematic approach to developing focused attention and cultivating deep insights into the nature of reality. The practice begins with anchoring attention to the breath, observing the subtle sensations of each inhalation and exhalation. This simple yet profound practice serves as a powerful tool for grounding ourselves in the present moment, drawing our awareness away from the distractions of past regrets and future anxieties. The Anapanasati Sutta meticulously outlines 16 steps, guiding the practitioner from basic breath awareness to profound insights into the nature of reality. As the mind settles and becomes more concentrated, we begin to observe the impermanent nature of all phenomena, including the breath itself. Modern mindfulness techniques, often adapted from the Anapanasati Sutta and other Buddhist teachings, offer accessible and practical methods for cultivating present moment awareness. These techniques, widely applied in therapeutic settings and everyday life, emphasize the cultivation of non-judgmental awareness of thoughts, feelings, and bodily sensations. By observing these inner experiences without getting carried away by them, without judgment or reactivity, we create a space between ourselves and our thoughts, allowing us to disengage from the narratives and stories that often bind us to the illusion of time. This non-judgmental awareness is crucial because it allows us to see our thoughts and emotions as transient phenomena, rather than identifying with them as solid and enduring aspects of ourselves. Mindfulness practices, through regular and consistent application, gradually weaken the grip of past regrets and future anxieties, allowing for a more direct and unmediated experience of the present. For instance, when anxiety about an upcoming deadline arises, instead of getting swept away by the worry, we can observe the anxiety with mindfulness, recognizing it as a temporary mental state, and gently redirect our attention back to the present moment. Neuroscience research further supports the efficacy of meditation in transforming our relationship with time. Studies on long-term meditators have shown significant changes in brain structure and function, particularly in areas associated with attention, emotional regulation, and time perception. These findings suggest that meditation can literally rewire our brains, enhancing our capacity for present moment awareness and reducing our tendency to get caught in the web of time. For example, research indicates that regular meditation can increase gray matter density in the hippocampus, a brain region crucial for memory and spatial navigation, and also in the prefrontal cortex, an area involved in planning, decision-making, and working memory. A key concept in understanding our experience of time is the distinction between psychological time and chronological time. Chronological time is the objective measurement of time by clocks and calendars, while psychological time is our subjective experience of time, which can vary dramatically based on our mental and emotional state. Consider waiting for a medical diagnosis. Each minute can feel like an hour, stretching out with agonizing slowness. Conversely, a joyful hour spent with loved ones might seem to vanish in a flash. Buddhist teachings emphasize the importance of freeing ourselves from the tyranny of psychological time, recognizing that our subjective experience of time is often distorted by our attachments, aversions, and limiting beliefs. By cultivating present moment awareness, we can begin to disentangle ourselves from the emotional roller coaster of psychological time and connect with the more stable and grounding reality of chronological time. Buddhist teachings distinguish between chronological time, clock time, and psychological time, our subjective experience often distorted by emotions and attachments. Through practices like vipassana meditation, we can recognize the impermanent nature of all phenomena, anicca, the suffering inherent in clinging, dukkha, and the absence of a separate self, anatta. This insight helps us loosen time's grip and find freedom. While we must function within conventional time, we can cultivate a mindful approach, setting intentions and prioritizing tasks without being enslaved by schedules. This balance allows us to live freely and peacefully in the present, even amidst daily demands. Beyond time, the power of timeless presence and the limits of science. Zen Buddhism, with its emphasis on direct experience and realization of enlightenment in the present moment, offers compelling stories of timeless awareness. Consider the classic Zen koan. What is the sound of one hand clapping? This seemingly nonsensical question aims to shatter our conceptual frameworks and open us to a direct experience of reality beyond thought and language. Such koans jolt the mind out of its habitual patterns, revealing a dimension of awareness that transcends linear time. These moments of insight, often described as satori, sudden enlightenment, or kensho, seeing into one's true nature, are characterized by profound clarity, peace, and interconnectedness. Contemporary research on brain states during pure awareness provides intriguing glimpses into the neurological correlates of these timeless experiences. Studies using EEG and fMRI have shown distinct changes in brainwave activity and blood flow patterns in experienced meditators during deep absorption. These changes include increased alpha and theta activity and decreased activity in the default mode network, DMN, a brain network associated with self-referential thought and mind wandering. The DMN is typically active when our minds are not focused on a specific task, generating thoughts about ourselves and our past or future. Reduced DMN activity during meditation suggests a quieting of the internal narrative that often constructs our sense of linear time. This aligns with the Buddhist understanding of enlightenment as a state of non-dual awareness, transcending the subject-object duality that underpins our ordinary experience of time. This raises a paradox. How can we be fully present while simultaneously transcending time? True presence is not merely being aware of what is happening now, but also being free from the mental constructs that bind us to the illusion of time. It is a state of open, receptive awareness, unburdened by past or future. In this state, we are not escaping time, but experiencing it differently, as a fluid, interconnected dimension of reality, and ultimately, a creation of our own minds. This shift transforms our daily lives, allowing us to engage with each moment with greater clarity, compassion, and appreciation. For example, athletes often describe entering a state of flow, where actions become effortless and their sense of time disappears. Ancient Buddhist methods for maintaining presence, such as mindfulness meditation and the cultivation of right mindfulness, samasati, provide practical tools for anchoring attention to the present moment. These practices offer a systematic approach to dismantling the illusion of time and realizing the power of timeless presence. This timeless awareness finds application in various modern contexts, from stress reduction and emotional regulation to enhancing creativity and fostering deeper interpersonal connections. The freedom found in transcending time-based identity is a core theme in Buddhist teachings. By recognizing the impermanent and insubstantial nature of the self, we loosen the grip of the ego, which is often defined by its past experiences and future aspirations. This liberation from a time-bound identity opens us to a deeper sense of interconnectedness with all beings. However, it's crucial to acknowledge the fundamental limitations of scientific inquiry into the nature of time. While science can provide valuable insights into the neurological mechanisms underlying time perception, it ultimately relies on the framework of time to conduct its investigations. Science observes, measures, and analyzes phenomena within the temporal dimension. Buddha's unique insights, derived from direct contemplative experience, offer a different perspective. He pointed to a reality beyond the reach of scientific instruments, a realm of timeless awareness only accessible through direct experience and sustained spiritual practice. The Buddha emphasized the intimate relationship between time and suffering. Our attachment to the past and anxieties about the future are primary sources of suffering. By understanding the illusory nature of time, we can begin to dismantle these patterns of attachment and aversion, opening the door to liberation. The ultimate purpose of Buddhist practice is not to escape from time, but to transform our relationship to it, to live fully and freely in each moment. This involves integrating scientific and Buddhist wisdom, cultivating present moment awareness, and embodying compassion and wisdom in our daily lives.